This is the 2022 Harley-Davidson Low Rider S with the 117 engine in it, and I want to establish today, one, whether it's a good bike, and two, whether this 117 engine is worth having or not. This video is sponsored by Bikeshore Motorcycle Insurance. The link is in the description below. Make sure you go there for a quotation, or if you go to a comparison website and they come up, it's a name you know and you can rely on them. I've ridden the Harley-Davidson CVO, which has the 117 cubic inch engine, and in the CVO it doesn't seem drastically different, or different at all in fact, from the 114 in the other models. So I really wanted to see if it makes a difference on the Softail chassis. With this 2022 model, there's a few differences from the 114 model, and look at our review of that a couple of years ago. One of the obvious differences is that the clock now is here on top of the handlebars rather than down here, which is a big improvement, because I did find you have to look down so far you can't see the road with the other one. This is absolutely brilliant, and it's a rev counter in analog. And I love analog, it's fantastic. And it's a rev counter because this is a performance cruiser. And when you're riding hard, you want to know where your revs are, so you're riding within the torque or the power. And with this, you can see at a glance, without looking down really, exactly where you are with the RPMs, which is fantastic. And under that, you've got the digital stuff that you normally have with the Harley-Davidsons, which you scroll through with your thumb on the left there. So this is brilliant, I love that. I must say that this bike is super cool. It really is absolutely gorgeous. I like this little screen thing here. It doesn't do a lot, but it does stop the buffeting and it does take a bit of wind off of you. You've got nice big wide meaty forks, upside down forks, and take note, other manufacturers, you don't have to have them gold anodized. Black looks better, it's very cool. You've got the alloy wheels here in the bronze color, dual disc brakes, and sometimes one forgets, when you look at other bikes, the attention to detail. And with this, you've got the down tubes here, but sandwiched between them is the radiator for the oil cooling, and you don't see it from the side. It's not just this great big radiator stuck on, so that's a great detail. Now, of course, you've got the 117 engine, which we'll come on to how it rides in a minute. You've got mid controls, and actually I prefer mid controls, I must say now, to forward controls. You get a better control of the bike, your feet are more in the centre of gravity. You can stand up easier on them if you go over a bump or if you want to stretch your legs. So they're great, no problems with those. You've got the monoshock here underneath the seat to give it that hardtail look, which is the point of the Softails. The exhaust pipes here have a nice deep sound to them. You can hear it with your helmet on. It does sound deep and rumbly, I must say. Very nice. And they look kind of nice too, and they're minimalistic. So if we have to get to that point where we can't have louder pipes, I'd be happy with these. Nice big fat rear tyre. This is very nice, this clear thingy here. We have a guillotine on the back, ready to slice your leg off as you get on and off, courtesy of the British twits in Parliament who have never thought about anything other than their wallets. So I really do like the styling on this bike. The seat's very good, it's very comfortable, and it's good on a long ride. And you've got this thing at the back to stop you shooting off the rear end, because this does have some acceleration, let me tell you, and we'll come on to that. I like these risers on the bars. It's very cool, and it gives your hands a nice position, and it's very commanding, and you've got a good view of the road ahead. The mirrors are hopeless, and I think they're designed more to face you so you can see how cool you look on the bike, as opposed to seeing behind, but that can be changed as well. And you've got this crinkled black paint finish here and there. It's on top here now, and I like it. And it's here and down here and along here and on the triple clamps and around the speedo thing. Actually, I do like it. It does suit the bike. It's kind of gnarly and it does look good. So overall, the styling of this bike is super cool and very good looking. On the Low Rider S, you've got a 28-degree rake, which is a bit steeper than the other Softails, which are 30 degrees. That gives this bike slightly sharper steering and more responsiveness, not too much so, which is not a good thing. And I think any less than 28, personally, I don't like it. You get too steep and you start getting twitchy, and I don't like that. You keep the stability with this, but you still get that sort of handling. And this is a performance cruiser. I'm going to say it a number of times in this video. And that's one of the elements that gives it its cornering ability. And the engine, again, I'm coming on to in a minute. Size-wise, again, I'm 6'2", and that's the riding position, which is very nice. My arms are nicely stretched out in front of me, and my legs aren't too bent. I feel very comfortable. It looks amazing, and it feels amazing. So, onto the 117 engine, and the question is whether this is worth going for over the 114 or the 107. And the answer is absolutely, emphatically, yes. This is just an incredible engine. And you notice it on this bike way more than you notice it on the CVOs. It has the usual low down grunt that you get with Harleys. So from 2000 RPM, if you open the throttle, you're accelerating hard. It pulls like a train. It's fantastic. But with this engine, you get a little bit more mid-range. So when you rise up to 3,500, say, RPM, it pulls really hard. And this is a bike you can rev a little bit more and get more out of. So it is a performance engine, as well as being a deep, throaty, rumbly, torquey, low-down engine, but it gives you the best of both worlds. So riding this bike, it is tremendous. I can tell you, it's fabulous. When I got on the bike, I just dropped off the Harley-Davidson Nightster, which I reviewed before this, and jumped onto this, and it does feel big. It's a big, meaty bike. It's a full-size motorcycle. And straight away you can feel that torque. The difference is night and day, absolutely night and day. The Nightster is very high revvy. This is just deep, traditional Harley, and it's got tremendous grunt. I love it. And if you open it up and keep it opened up, it really does fly. It's a very fast motorcycle, and it corners nicely too. It's not a sports bike, and you know, I'm not a sports bike kind of rider, and I think riding ridiculously fast around corners is dangerous, but this is fast enough. You don't need to go faster than this. It's brilliant, and it's just a wonderful experience. It's like Darcy said many times, when you ride a bike like this, it's an event. It's more than just getting from A to B. It's doing it in style and exhilaration, and it's just wonderful. I can honestly say now, if you're thinking about a Harley-Davidson, one of the Softails, this is the one to go for. This is now my favourite Harley-Davidson, because this engine just brings it up to another level. It's just incredible, and it's extremely cool, and it sounds amazing. I mean, change the pipes for some slip-ons or a full system. My goodness, it will roar and echo through the valleys. It's just unbelievable. The design is brilliant, the seat is brilliant, the clock on the rev counter is brilliant, the mirrors are rubbish. But apart from that, it's just the most incredible bike I've ridden on the Harley range ever. It's my favourite Harley, without a shadow of a doubt. So, as I said, if you're thinking about a Harley, this is the one I recommend now. If you're thinking about an Indian, get one of these. It's just phenomenal. brakes on this are superb, absolutely superb. I can't say any more than that, it's just perfect. The gear change on this is very good indeed. Most of the time you get the Harley clunk into first, but not all the time. Once it's warmed up you don't tend to get it. But the gear change is faultless, as is pretty much everything on this bike. I can't find anything seriously wrong with it. It's just all good. On this and all the other Softails, you do have a little USB charger point there, which is great to have. So if you've got a phone or a sat nav, you can charge it while you're on the move. And that's something that the Nightster didn't have, and my battery went flat and I got completely lost. So if you've got this, that won't happen. On the Low Rider S, you've got a taller rear shock, same as the Heritage Classic, and the last model of this didn't have that. That gives you a little bit more height, which gives you a plusher ride, but also a bit more ground clearance, which improves your cornering angles as well. So that all helps to make this a performance cruiser. The quality is very good indeed, first class. There's nothing on the bike that looks bad. The welds are good, the paint finish is good, everything is top notch. So let's go over a few facts and figures. The price is $17,530 in the USA or £18,495 in the UK. It's got the 117 cubic inch engine, which is 1,917 cc, massive, which gives you 125 foot-pounds of torque at 3,500 RPM or 168 Newton meters, which is tremendous. 105 horsepower at 5,020 RPM. It's got a 5-gallon United States gallon tank, which is 18.9 litres, and that gives you 47 miles per gallon USA gallons, or 5.5 litres per 100 kilometres in the rest of the world, who are metric. And I must say I do prefer feet and inches and imperial, so maybe, well, they said they'd go back to it, they won't. It was just a stupid government being stupid as usual. The weight of the bike is 308 kilograms or 679 pounds, and that sounds a lot, but it doesn't feel particularly heavy. But that heaviness is a result of quality metals and parts. It's strong, and strength is going to give you a long life. So all these things are very good to have on a motorcycle. It's not built out of rubbish plastic and it's going to last 5 years. You could keep this bike forever. But comparing this bike to my personal BMW R18, they are very similar. And the R18, the forks stick out further and it's a longer bike. So the R18 is bigger. The engine on the R18, you've got the Boxer twin instead of the V-twin. I do feel that the torque comes in harder and stronger at 2,000 RPM on the R18 than it does on this. But once you open this out, it's got more torque and more power. So it is a faster bike. And you know, if I hadn't got the R18 and I was back on the market looking for a bike, this would be the Harley that I would buy. Of course, you know, I can't keep changing bikes. I love the R18 and I'm very happy with it. But if you're, you know, comparing the two bikes in your head, which one would you go for? It would be down to style and whether you want the sort of BMW engine or the Harley engine, because obviously you can change things, you can customize these bikes and make them your own, but they're both very cool. So that's what I would say. Now, I don't know about you, but it worries me a little bit that bikes like this won't be around for a long time because, You know, with the new Revolution Max engine, for instance, which is a very good engine, but not my kind of engine. I like these deep, torquey, air-cooled engines. And I just hope that they're going to stick around for a bit longer, because there's nothing like it on the planet. And if they do end up having to be discontinued, then I strongly suggest you buy one and keep it forever, because there's never going to be a bike like this. So let's summarize about this bike, the Low Rider S. It's very cool, it looks amazing, it's stylish, it's meaty, it's torquey, it's what we know Harley-Davidsons are good at, and it is one of the best cruisers out there, without question. The 117 cubic inch engine is just incredible, absolutely fantastic. The handling is very, very good. The design and the ergonomics is very good, like with the speedo and the rev counter. The mirrors are not very good, but on the whole, it is just one tremendous motorcycle. So as I said in the video, if you're thinking about it, do not hesitate. This is one of the best Harleys ever made.